everybody, the time has come to lower the car, so you know what that means. Engine installed, everything tightened down, top and bottom. I actually got creative with this back bolt, the one that is the one that also holds in the starter, and is extremely difficult to get to shove it through so you can put the nut on. I actually got creative. I used my endoscope, and I went up behind the car and I zoomed in on the bolt until the camera was resting on it, and I shoved it in with the endoscope. It didn't seem to mind. In fact, it was happy to help. So, without further delay, let us lower the car back to earth. After which, and yes, I did open my victory beer. I certainly feel it was well deserved. And like any good person would do, I brought a victory beer to the help next door, friend of mine over there. So, karma is on my side. So let's get it down on the ground. After that, we will turn the fuel line on. It is full of oil. I do need to put the fan belt on. I do want to check the timing just to make sure it's okay. It was okay when I tore it apart. It should still be okay. And then just terminate some wiring, and that's basically it. But for today, I am calling it a successful Porsche day in lowering the car down back to earth where it belongs. So we let off the safeties, go up first. There's that one. We make sure the hoses are not going to get smushed. And down we go. Back on all fours. Awesome. I do have to put in that front shroud piece. I'm going to put the fan belt on first just because access is just a slight bit easier. All my wires are labeled. I took a picture of that one, don't worry. And that's it. So, in case you're wondering, and I'm sure you are, why go through all this? Well, this all started with a thread insert for one of the spark plugs ejecting itself. Now, I have receipts for this car going back, and that's the one right there. I have receipts for this car going back 40 years, and I knew from going through them all that there was already 3 helicoils in this head from stripping these threads. Anti-seize will make your life a lot easier if you don't want to go through all that. This one had a helicoil. It failed. We put a thread insert in. It failed. So, given the state of those heads, I chose to replace rather than repair. So, and it's kind of one of those things. As long as the engine's out and the heads are off, not a big deal to replace the pistons and cylinders too. So that's how we got here. All right. Next time, come back and see. We should see a Porsche firing up. All right. Till then. All right. Lots of work done. Not so obvious. but work nonetheless. You can see all wiring has been connected, and if you ever do this job, label everything, take pictures of everything. The wiring diagram is great. However, as you can see, these wires are no longer the color they once were. In the wiring diagram, these are red and yellow. In reality, they're brown and lighter brown. Distributor cap on. Again, everything wired. Fan belt on. And I did go with a new fan belt because, you know, it'd be kind of stupid to just stick with the old one and hope it's okay. And we all know we're not stupid. Otherwise, we wouldn't be driving 60-year-old cars. So that's all done. Exhaust underneath, the last pipes all in. Nothing overly dramatic there. Fuel lever has been flipped to on, so that's good because that's kind of important. Battery being charged. It is much more discharged than I expected. I had it disconnected this whole time, but over the course of a couple of months, that's what happens, and it's still only at 60% or so. I'm going to try to start it anyway, just because I'm sick of waiting. So, you know what? Let's set this camera down. Let's get in the car. Let's see what, if anything, happens. The answer may be nothing. We'll see. Alright, still not enough juice in the battery yet, which is unfortunate. I would really like to at least hear this thing crank. It's been a lot of hours this week, so feeling tired, feeling sore. Would love a starting motor to alleviate all that pain and agony, but you know, you can't rush physics or electricity. Take it from an engineer who sort of knows these things. So we're going to keep this thing charging. We're going to get it fully charged. We're going to come back, and I believe we're going to hear a 356 roar to life in all of its 90 horsepower glory. So stay tuned. It's gonna happen soon. Till next time. that immediately, but it does live. Like, tighten up the fuel lines. As I said earlier, you don't want to over torque these things because they are pot metal. However, whew, yeah, it smells like gas. You don't want to under torque them either. So here we go. All right, that is a wonderful sound. That's the sound of a Porsche engine back to life. Still a little bit of sorting out to do. We'll check the carburetors, make sure everything's synced as far as the air intake. We got 4 throats to check, make sure they're okay. The timing seems basically okay. We have to do engine break-in to get the rings seated, so that means nothing over 3,000 RPM, and I'm kind of varying the revs. Don't keep it at constant revs for a long time. So we need to do that for like 100 miles. At that point, we'll change the oil and set the valves again. You can see some smoking going on. You can hear a little popping, you know, it's cool. It's a freshly rebuilt engine. It's going to need a little bit of adjustment. And I should probably stop breathing these fumes before I pass out on the floor. But running, awesome. Been a long week, been a tough week. Feeling a little sore, feeling, you know, kind of tired, but hey, all worth it. Listen to that. Cool. All right, so we know it starts. That was a major victory. Now the question becomes, does it actually move? Which is kind of an important factor. So first let's start it, and then let's check the clutch, make sure it goes into reverse. We did replace the clutch, it's new. I do have a short shift kit installed, that's new. So we want to run it through the gears, we want to make sure it actually goes down the road. So let's try it out. Haven't started it in a day or two, so. Yes. Clutch working. All right, first. Notice one thing, the generator light is staying on, which would indicate either a broken fan belt, which I know isn't true, or that the generator's not outputting the voltage it should be. It's third, it's all good. That I need to check. decided to cut that out of my vocabulary. Sorry. There's a nice little brewery we could stop at. Alright, so I do want to show you something on the, this is the sync device. Shows you how much vacuum each carb is pulling. It should be perfect. This is at low idle, so you can see it just bouncing between the bottom and the one. However, if I come over to this other carb, you can see it's barely moving. So the left-hand carb is doing more sucking than the right-hand carb. So all I have to do is adjust these to where both carburetors are getting an equal amount of throttle. And I'm going to do that right now. As you can see, you just turn these nuts, you loosen them, and you rotate the shaft, and it'll lengthen or shorten, depending on what you want to do. Then you tighten those nuts back up to hold it in place. So I'm going to take care of that. The reason it's not an issue necessarily between the two barrels front and rear, which typically you would use this on every barrel to make sure everybody's sucking equally. So when they rebuilt these carburetors, and again these are Solex 40 millimeter carburetors. Originally they had a split shaft, meaning this throttle shaft had a split in the middle, and you could actually adjust between the two different barrels. Well, typically what they do now, because that design caused a lot of problems, they make it a solid shaft when they rebuild the carburetor. So, and they set the butterflies at the shop that did the rebuild. So I checked it with this, and it appears to be that they're both the same. So I don't have to worry about that. That's cool. I just have to adjust that shaft to give that carb a little more throttle. Then we'll start it back up and check again. And I'll check it at some RPM too. I'll if I can see it through the back window, I'll get it up to like 2,000 RPM and check it there too. All right, that's next. Okay, let's check this again. Kind of iterative, so it's a little below the 1 first mark. On this side, I've lengthened this rod slightly, and it's a little below the first mark as well. So we're good. I just have to tighten the nuts to make sure that stays in place and doesn't rotate your engine vibration. That's it. I still need to check the mixture. Smells rich to me, although I'm not seeing, well, I am seeing a little bit of black smoke. So I am going to do that as well. But for now, you know, it's running good. They did set the mixture at the company that did the carbs, 356 Carb Rescue. But, you know, it's an initial setting. We're at probably 2,300 feet right here. So it's going to be a little different just because of the oxygen content in the air. So we will work on that, but for now, we have a running, driving 356 once again. And I can tell you the engine, even cold, you saw it a little while ago, it fires up very quickly. Like, it's never started that like that. It's not as long as I've owned it. It was always a pain in the ass to start when it was cold. And again, like I mentioned at a prior episode, a lot of that issue was leaking throttle shafts on these carburetors, which introduces a vacuum source that you just can't get rid of. You can't adjust your way out of it. So that problem is gone. Like I said, the only issue I'm dealing with now is, why is my generator warning light not going out? So I'll check that. I'll report back what I find, and keep you posted. All right, stay tuned. Alrighty, as you recall last time, I was fighting a bit of a generator issue, meaning it didn't seem to be doing anything. And upon inspection, the problem is pretty obvious. So, obvious and relatively easy, so that's good. I did inspect the voltage regulator. It looks pretty much brand new. I did install the snout for the European heater system that I showed you in episode 1, and installed all the heater hose. So that's good. So just so you know, there's a pretty easy way to tell if it's a battery or a generator issue. So with the car not running, just hook up a voltmeter across the battery, and in my case it measured about 12.61 volts. This car has been converted to 12 volt. So that's about right with the car not running. However, with the car running and at about 2,000 RPM or so, it really ought to be more like 14 volts measured at the same point. because the generator should be charging and sending more current and voltage to the battery. In my case, when I started the engine, and I just put it up to 2,000 RPM with the little idle screw down there, it did nothing. Voltage did not change 1 decimal point. So clearly the issue was back here, and clearly the issue is there. So let's fix it and see if that light goes out. All right, wire re-terminated. Let's see if the generator light goes out. That would make me very happy. Here we go. Aha! Simple as that. And that light is for the e-brake. So that's it. We can declare this little project over and done. So, you know what that means, right? That means it's victory beer time. So, let's all go to the fridge. Let's all get one together. You deserve one too if you sat through this whole thing, or if you just used it for nap time. Either way, I hope I helped. But don't worry, I'm not disappearing from your life now. I wouldn't do that. We're going to take a look at this Tiger in the next episode. It's a pretty recent restoration. It's pretty. British Racing Green. So next episode around, we'll do a walk around on that. We'll take it for a ride, and you can listen to the sound of that nice 260 V8. All right, till then.